Hi, it's Ronnie, and welcome to a Punched Out Thursday to Die For with Kathy, Krista, myself, and Dorothy. And I'm going to be scrapping this picture of my great niece, and she's playing in the leaves, and she's got like a handful of them. And so I decided to use, well, the papers, two of the papers I'm using is Cartabella Fall Break, leftover from last year. And then I'm going to pull out one that's well, it's real textured. I got the whole package off HSN once, and so it's kind of crinkled looking, and I'll be using it too. I decided I was going to kind of like frame my picture, so I cut the big hole, and then I'm going to use that crinkled crepey paper and make a smaller hole behind this. But first, I'm actually going to stitch around this. Now, normally, unless it's a short straight line, I take and mark it with a pencil all the way around, especially for a circle, so it'll look straighter. I've got a guide. However, I didn't have anything to mark this with. I cut on the inside of this, and the only way I'd be able to use that template, the Creative Memories one, would be to have it really far away from the center of that, but I wanted it in the center. And I am going to stitch the whole thing when I'm going to cover a lot of it up. I don't know why I wasn't thinking ahead when I was doing it. I mean, really? It would have took me half the time. This whole thing took me like 4.5 hours. Yeah, and I think a lot of it was all the little piddly stuff that I ended up doing with it. I am cutting this down so I can save some of it because it's paper I really like, and it's got a really nice texture. It's twice as heavy as even the Cartabella. And when I'm going to end up using it later with the die, I have to run it through several times just because it is heavier. And look how centered that is. Awesome, huh? It was just pure luck. Yeah, because, it don't always happen that way. The background I'm using is cream colored, and it's a textured one, American Crafts. And I put foam tape on the main one so I could bring it up. I kind of wanted it like a shadow box, kind of, sort of. And my picture's going to sit down in there. I am going to ink around the edges, though. The edges of the circle, kind of give it a little more depth. And I'm going to have to end up cutting my picture down. I put all that foam tape under there. I couldn't slide my picture under the way I wanted, so it is getting cut down. Here I'm showing you my embossing pads. The green one is a Anna Griffin, and then the tan one is Spellbinders. And when I was cutting those two leaves out, I thought, I know I have some more embossed leaves. Now, where are they? And then I thought, oh, they're in my big tote for cards because I like to keep all the stuff for my cards together. So when I do cards, I just pull it out and everything's right there. So I went and got my Spellbinders leaves. Why I haven't thought of them before now, I don't know. Autumn's almost over. And in that tote was the Anna Griffin one. So if you notice, the leaves that I've used before look more embossed. The reason is I used the Anna Griffin one. It is like 2-3 times thicker than the Spellbinders one. So it'll make a really deep embossing, whereas the other one made an embossing impression, but not as much as the green one does. So if you've ever been thinking about getting a embossing pad, get Anna Griffin. Mine came free. Well, I'm sure it wasn't free. I paid for it. But it came with a set of dies that I got. I'm putting my splatters on my leaves. I've inked them all up, and I'm putting the splatters on there. And I am not going to have enough leaves. Well, I didn't actually plan ahead past the circle in the middle, I guess, because I wasn't quite prepared. That's one of the reasons that it took me so long. I was trying to make up my mind as I went. I knew I'd end up using punches or dies, but I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do. My first thought was punches for the leaves. Then I thought, well, I think I want them bigger, and these are bigger. So, yeah, and a bigger variety too. I'd had to use the same punch over and over again. However, punches are quicker. Since there's some dark green leaves in the background, I did cut a couple of dark green leaves. My scrap only allowed me to cut two, though. So that's why you're only seeing two. However, those ones in the background, I think, show up pretty good. I am gluing some of these leaves down, and of course others I'm putting foam tape under them. The more delicate spellbinder ones, they're the ones getting more of the glue, the liquid glue, rather than the foam tape. Because I have put foam tape on them before, and it sticks to your fingers. Well, my foam tape does. And then you go to pull your finger away from the foam tape and you tear it. So I haven't put quite as much foam tape under those. I will put a little, but not quite as much. And um, once I get all the leaves down, I'm going to decide I need more texture. There's plenty there, but I want more. And y'all know I have that punch, that Martha Stewart punch with the little branch. Plus I have the branch that's Tim Holtz. It's the pine cone one, and sometimes I'll cut dies cuts out of it. Well, this Spellbinder one has one too, and I think it might be the biggest of the three. And I'm going to use it on here. And I made them cream colored and inked them with something linen. What is that? It's Tim Holtz Distress Ink. Antique linen, that's it. I inked it in antique linen. For the more texture, I decided to add some of the burlap. And I think I'm going to put it like, let me look, maybe 4 or 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Before it's all said and done, it'll be about 7 or 8. 8. But I'm going to put, I think, 5 over here. See the right hand side, how bare it looks? That kept bugging me. After I added the texture with the burlap, I was tempted to fussy cut some acorns out of that circle. Then I got to thinking I could use that circle for so much more. So I thought, well, it wouldn't be hard to make some small acorns. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using a 1-inch oval and then a 3/4-inch circle. And I'm showing the lines on my circle punch. I make that line there so I can tell where the halfway mark is. And I did do first 2 on the halfway mark for the, well, I call it the lid on the acorn, the little top, the little hat. I did make them halfway, and then I just went a little past because I thought, I think I want them just a little bit longer. And then I cut a strip for the stem. However, the first one I got too thick. The second one looked too straight. So the third one was just right. But I did some inking on them with the tea dye ink. And because I did use craft paper, and then the brown is a textured brown from American Craft. And one good thing about if you got plenty of paper and dies and punches, if you decide you need more of something, you can just make it. So that's what I decided to do with the empty space on the right hand side. And of course, I will need a couple of more acorns because of that, and add some more texture with the burlap. But yeah, I had to make me some more leaves. I did cut it out so y'all wouldn't have to watch it though. But y'all can see why it took me over 4 hours to do this layout. However, I was enjoying myself and was just working away. Well, I was watching YouTube videos until YouTube decided to mess up where I couldn't watch them. And with that note, you can tell that I waited to the last minute to do my layout. Yeah, I couldn't make up my mind. Well, I did do some Christmas ones for like December because I was in the mood to do Christmas and I couldn't make up my mind which picture to use and all that. So yeah, it ended up getting put off until I had to do it, I guess. And the only plan I actually had was the circle. This little piece was from Simple Stories, and it may not 100% match, but it says so very blessed, and I like it. So it's going on my layout anyway. I made it into a banner, and I'm going to kind of angle it and tuck it underneath the picture. And I probably had 5 or 6 titles I wanted to use and couldn't make up my mind which title. So I finally do. And I turned my camera off for a few minutes and forgot all about turning it back on. So Autumn Splendor got done without y'all getting to see any of it. Usually you get to see a little, but without you even getting to see any of it. And I use those Sizzix Sizzlets, and it's called Script. However, all the letters aren't script. Some of them are just, well, kind of quirky. But I like this set a lot. And I put the Autumn down, and well, I put Splendor down and left the L out, but I managed to get it back up. I had to cut some more. And I put the Autumn down, and I was right there at the end, and I had to kind of cram my M over to the left so I'd have room for my N. And because I didn't want to pull another word up, so I just kind of made it a little tight. So at first glance, you can tell it's kind of crowded. It should be over to the right just a little more, the M, N. But yeah. I am done with my layout. And I did I did punch a bunch of little hearts out of the leftover part from the blessed to scatter around the page. And because when I was doing those second batch of leaves, I got some of that, oh, it's chalk paint on my paper down in the right hand corner. I had to sprinkle it over the whole thing. But be sure to check out the other gals and see what they did with their punches and or dies today. And I'm sure you'll find lots of inspiration because they are pretty good at pulling out their tools. But if you leave a comment below, I'll get back with you. And if you like the video and hit a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. And those of you are, thank you so much. But don't forget to check out the other gals for more inspiration. And have a happy scrappy week. Take care and stay safe. Pull your tools out. Bye.